World War II, a time no one felt safe, no matter where you were. In this part of the story, the war-torn landscape of Europe had shifted into an uneasy stalemate. Bombings from both sides had scarred the land, but the front lines remained unmoved. This Cold War of sorts allowed for technological advancements and tactical evaluations, each side cautiously preparing for the next inevitable clash. For the Republic and the Allies, the introduction of Clone Wars technology brought a significant advantage, but the threats of the Separatists and Axis powers loomed large. Anakin Skywalker stood on the cliffs of Dover, gazing across the English Channel. His mind was a storm of emotions. It had been months since their unexpected arrival on Earth, and the weight of this prolonged conflict was beginning to take its toll. The battles here seemed endless, unlike the quick, decisive engagements he was accustomed to in the Clone Wars. Beside him, Captain Rex stood at attention, his helmet tucked under his arm. "General, we've received reports of increased Separatist activity in northern France. It looks like they're going to try and establish a new base of operations for building battle droids." Anakin nodded, his eyes narrowing. "We can't let that happen, Rex. Prepare a recon team. I want to know exactly what they are up to." The team Rex assembled soon made their way across the English Channel, utilizing stealth ships provided by the Republic. Under the cover of night, a small team of Republic clones and Allied soldiers infiltrated the dense forests of northern France. The moonlight cast eerie shadows through the trees as they moved silently, their senses heightened for any sign of the enemy. Soon, a seasoned British scout whispered to Rex, I've never seen anything like this. These droids, they don't tire. They don't feel fear." Rex nodded, almost laughing. "They're formidable, but they're also predictable. They rely on numbers and brute force. We can outsmart them." As they approached a clearing, the team halted. In the distance, the ominous silhouettes of Separatist droids could be seen patrolling a fortified encampment. Anakin, utilizing the Force, sensed something more. There was a powerful presence, one that felt disturbingly familiar. "There's someone else here," Anakin whispered. Someone strong in the Force." The team soon set up a concealed observation post, documenting the droids' movements and the layout of the camp. But soon, the ground trembled and a dark figure emerged from one of the larger tents. Really quickly, I just wanted to stop into the story really quick and just remind y'all to like and subscribe. "Dooku," Anakin hissed, his eyes narrowing. So it was him who crashed. The team would soon report their findings back and escape back over the English Channel, reporting back to the Allied headquarters in London. Anakin and Rex presented their findings to Winston Churchill and the Allied command. The mood was tense, but there was also a sense of determination in the air. "This Count Dooku is a dangerous adversary," Anakin explained. "He's a Sith Lord, second only to Darth Sidious. We need to be cautious." Anakin also told the staff that he and his Order of Jedi were the protectors of peace in his galaxy, and these Sith, this Count Dooku, set out to destroy that very peace that they were protecting. Winston Churchill leaned forward, his cigar smoldering in the ashtray. He let out a small chuckle, thinking about the symbolism between the two galaxies. "And what do you propose we do, General Skywalker?" Anakin took a deep breath. "We hit them where it hurts. We use the technology we have developed together and strike their new base before they can fortify it further and establish a beachhead so we can attack into Germany." The dawn broke with a brilliant display of firepower as the combined forces of the Republic and the Allies launched a surprise attack from the Separatist encampment. LAAT's gunships swooped down, releasing waves of clone troopers and Allied soldiers. Anakin led the charge, his lightsaber blazing as he cut through the ranks of B-1 and B-2 battle droids. The new weapon, utilized by the Allies, called the WWII, used nuclear technology provided by the United States to utilize a blaster rifle that was powerful not only against the droids, but also enemy soldiers. The blast sent out particles of boiling water that don't only pierce the body, but sends boiling water like shotgun pellets at the unfortunate soul who comes across it. The battle came to a standstill, with Anakin and Rex still taking cover. Mortars were firing overhead. Vulture droids sprayed the battlefield as Rex and his men pushed out from cover and utilized the new tactics they had learned from the Brits, in a surprise pincer maneuver which caught the confident Germans off guard. The Allied soldiers were inspired, and they too pushed alongside the clones. In the midst of the chaos, Anakin jumped out from cover and faced Dooku. The two engaged in a fierce lightsaber duel, their blades clashing with sparks of energy. Dooku's elegant, controlled style contrasts sharply with Anakin's aggressive, relentless attacks. Dooku's form, Makashi, was precise and efficient, designed for lightsaber-to-lightsaber combat. His movements were like a dance, each strike carefully measured and executed. Anakin, on the other hand, utilizes Gemso, a form that relied on power and brute strength. His strikes were powerful, intended to overwhelm his opponent. "You've grown stronger, Skywalker," Dooku taunted, parrying a strike, "but you're still predictable." Anakin's eyes burned with determination, and a small smirk came across his face. "And you're still a coward, hiding behind your droids." The duel soon intensified, with Anakin's aggressive style beginning to push Dooku back. Despite his skill, Dooku found himself struggling against Anakin's raw power and relentless assault. Anakin's confidence surged as he pressed the attack, his strikes becoming more powerful and faster. But just as it seemed Anakin might have gained the upper hand, a deafening explosion rocked the battlefield. The massive separatist ship, the Providence-class dreadnought that crash-landed here, descended from the clouds, its cannons firing indiscriminately. This distraction allowed Dooku to retreat, the duel ending in a stalemate. "Fall back," Anakin shouted to his team. "Regroup at the rendezvous point." The battle raged on for hours, but eventually, the combined mights of the Republic and the Allies overwhelmed the Separatist force. The dreadnought, crippled by concentrated fire by both ground and air units, crashed into the forest, creating a fiery inferno symbolic to its previous end, this time unrepairable. As the smoke cleared, Anakin surveyed the devastation. The costs had been high, but they had achieved a significant victory. A beachhead was secured in France for an Allied assault into occupied France. Yet, the toll of this prolonged conflict weighed heavily on him. The faces of fallen comrades and innocent civilians haunted his nightmares. Back in London, Anakin sat alone in his quarters, staring at a hollow image of Padme. The uncertainty of her fate, along that with Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, gnawed at his soul. He clenched his fist, struggling to maintain his composure. Rex entered, his expression somber. "General, the men are asking for you. They need to see their leader." Anakin nodded, rising to his feet. I know. It's just, this war feels endless. It's testing us and me in ways we'd never imagined. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith, sensed a disturbance in the Force. He reached out, his malevolent presence extending across the stars until it brushed against the mind of Count Dooku. "Dooku," Sidious's voice echoed in the Sith Lord's mind. "I sense you are in a precarious situation." Dooku, recovering from his duel with Anakin, responded with deference. "Master, I got trapped in a different galaxy. Skywalker is here, and so is his battalion of clones. I got my droids here to form an alliance with local forces undergoing a global conflict, who I think match your views very well." Sidious's laughter was cold and calculating. He knew Dooku and Skywalker were still alive, and what Sidious was thinking happened was the truth. Somehow, they went to another galaxy. This galaxy may be useful. Keep it up, but don't kill Skywalker. Just cause him as much pain to him as possible, Sidious would tell to Dooku. Back on Earth, the Allies began to integrate more of the advanced technology provided by the Republic. Factories churned out modified starfighters, and soldiers trained with new weapons that could turn the tide of battle. The stalemates in Europe continued, but the balance of power was shifting. The months dragged on, and Anakin's resolve was tested like never before. The continuous warfare, the strain of leadership, and the gnawing fear of his loved ones pushed him to the brink. He found solace in his meditations, reaching out through the Force in hopes of sensing Obi-Wan or Ahsoka, but the vastness of space yielded no answers. One night, as he stood on the cliffs again, Rex approached him. "General, I've seen you take on entire droid armies without flinching, but this war is different, isn't it?" Anakin nodded, his voice heavy with emotion. "It's not just the battles, Rex. It's the uncertainty, the not knowing. In our galaxy, the war hadn't ended in sight, but here, it just feels endless." Rex placed a hand on Anakin's shoulder. "We'll get through this, sir. We faced impossible odds before and came out stronger." Anakin managed a small smile. "I know, Rex. I know." As the year drew to a close, the Allies and the Republic prepared for a final push to end the stalemate in Europe. Intelligence reports indicated that the Axis powers, along with the Separatists, were planning a massive counteroffensive. In a secret meeting, Churchill, Anakin, and other Allied leaders devised a plan to preemptively strike the enemy's stronghold before this counterattack could happen. In Anakin's strategic mind, coupled with the tactical brilliance of the Allied generals, they crafted a daring operation that could turn the tide of war. But as they finalized their plans, a dark presence loomed over them. Sidious, now fully aware of the situation, began to manipulate events from afar. He reached out through the Force, contacting Dooku and setting in motion a plan that would bring the Republic to their knees. As the dawn of the final battle arrived, Allied and Republic forces launched a coordinated assault on the Axis Separatist stronghold. The sky was filled with the roar of engines and the flash of laser fire as starfighters engaged enemy aircraft. On the ground, Anakin led the charge once more, his lightsaber cutting through droids and soldiers alike. The battle was fierce and neither side willing to yield. But as the hours passed, the tide began to turn in favor of the Allies. In the midst of the chaos, Anakin faced Dooku once again. Their duel was intense, each strike fueled by the weight of their respective causes, but this time, Anakin fought not just for the Republic, but for the hope of returning home and ending the war. As the battle raged on Earth, across the other galaxy on Dathomir, Darth Sidious confronted Mother Talzin. The dark sky was lit with flashes of green and red as their powers clashed. The Night Sisters watched in awe and terror as Sidious, with a final surge of dark energy, struck Talzin down. Her lifeless body fell to the ground, and the power of the witches waned. Sidious turned to the remaining Night Sisters, his voice cold and commanding. "Join me, or your religion will perish with her." The witches, fearing for their lives and survival of their culture, reluctantly agreed. Before traveling to Dathomir, Sidious had obtained a strand of Dooku's hair from their last meeting, a precaution he always took with his apprentices. As he stood before the Night Sisters, he handed them the hair, explaining its significance. The witches, their eyes glowing with dark energy, used the strand to perform a powerful tracking spell. The magic surged through the air, revealing the location of the planet where Dooku and the Separatists had crashed. This allowed the Night Sisters to open a massive portal, much like the spectacle seen in an Avengers Endgame. Through this portal, Republic, Jedi, and Separatist droids began to pour into Earth's war-torn landscape. Fleets upon fleets from both sides would be sent into this other galaxy, but for one ultimate goal for Sidious: true domination, not just in his galaxy, but this galaxy as well. Months passed as the Axis powers, bolstered by their new allies, gained the upper hand. The Allies, overwhelmed by the sheer might of the combined forces, even with Republic and Jedi reinforcement, struggled to hold their ground on this singular planet. In a devastating twist of fate, the Axis powers emerged victorious in World War II, and now in this galactic conflict. Amidst this chaos, Anakin Skywalker's mental state deteriorated. He wasn't allowed to leave. In this prolonged conflict, the loss of comrades and the weights of the galaxy's fate bore heavily on him. He found himself haunted by nightmares of his loved ones and the dark path he feared he might tread. In the midst of this turmoil, Palpatine's plan reached its climax. As the clones integrated with Earth's forces, Sidious issued Order 66 across the battlefield. Clone troopers turned on their Jedi generals. The few Jedi that came to Earth were instantly shot down, including that of Kit Fisto, Stas Ali, and Adi Gallia. Anakin, caught in betrayal, fought desperately to survive. His trusted men, the 501st, attempted to gun him down, their blasters burning with the power that once only harmed droids. Anakin managed to escape, wounded and wary. The sight of his loyal soldiers turning against him, combined with the overwhelming sense of loss and betrayal, pushed him further to the dark side. This final blow to his already fragile psyche was the realization that the war he had hoped to end had only just begun on this new front. As he stumbled through the devastated landscape, the portal continued to bring more troops to Earth, signaling the dawn of a new era of warfare. The sky was dark, filled with the echoes of battle and the ominous presence of the Sith. The galaxy's conflict had truly reached Earth, and the world would never be the same again. And those who perished, all died in vain. And that is the conclusion to our story, everyone. I know it is a bit of a cliffhanger, but I love where this went. I may or may not come back to this series in the future, but right now I have other amazing plans for content to bring you guys. Also, if you would like to support me, please head over to my Patreon where you can get so many amazing benefits like previews to my stories, confirmed what if ideas, and more. The link is down in the description. Also, one last thing, if you comment Shadow down below, that is Shadow, SHADOW, within the first 48 hours of this video's release, I will heart your comments for making it all the way through and showing your appreciation. With that out of the way, I hope you all have an amazing night, and I will see you next time.